listening to Ultra Q, episode 64. My name is Red.
Are you okay?
We'll redo that.
You had some of the water that Yapool was cooking.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, let me throw a red jewel at you.
No!
That'll fix the problem.
Anything but that. Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 64. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Hey everyone, guess what? I brought a guest onto the podcast. Would you like to meet
Did
him?
you? Yeah.
Here he is, it's Zoffy. Oh, it just left. Oh, well, anyway.
Here's Zoffy!
Here's Zoffy.
I thought he'd be a game changer, but now you know.
Nah. He's in the title, too.
Oh, he's got to be in the title for ours now, too, and then not show up or do anything of importance. Bye, Zoffy. Nice knowing you.
Yeah. Also joined by
he
Brad.
did something important. He
shipped Minimi. Yeah. Also joined by Brad.
The Boo Saga? Really?
Yeah, it's great.
You know
great.
what, though? I do agree with you. Go Tanks rules. And, like, the two parts that make up Go Tanks.
It's so good. I was reading the fight, the Gotenks fight with Boo, and I was like, this is just the pinnacle of Dragon Ball.
It's pretty good.
As like they're fighting up there on the lookout or whatever whatever it's called in Japanese. Because I've the problem with reading Dragon Ball is like skipping around between, and I don't want to read it just like the Viz scans because they suck, is skipping around between the various different translations depending on who's done what. And so I wind up with different names for things sometimes. But yes, other than, rip to how they do Gohan dirty at the very end of the Boo saga. But, I stand by my position.
The Boo Saga is the most we are so back it's over roller coaster in my memory. I do want to also let you know, because I don't know how much you've looked into like how people feel about things. I actually feel like Namek Saga being pretty low has actually become much more accepted.
Is it?
In modern years.
Well, that's good, because
the pacing is bad.
Yes.
I like it because of childhood nostalgia reasons, and I think Frieza is a killer villain, but a lot of it is, like, slow to a point of, like, being a problem.
there are highlights in there, and Vegeta is doing great. Love Vegeta and Namek. Basically, anytime Vegeta is on screen, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah.
He was kind of, like, slipping in the guy rankings in... towards the end of the Cell Saga, because I was like, well, we're back with the full cast. We've got so many everyone's on their A game. Like, Cell Saga's hitting. And then in the Boo Saga, he is like, has like
kills
villain.
A crowd of people?
He has like, so, yes, he does. I was like, does that happen? Yes, he does.
He shoots a crowd of people just to be like, fight me, Goku. It's so good.
He has like a villain relapse. It's fantastic. He's like, I really liked it when I was a villain. I don't like this whole being a good guy. It's making me feel things.
Some of the best Vegeta stuff is in the... Also, one of peak Vegeta moment is... Well, I might as well blow myself up. Hey, Piccolo, am I going to hell when I die? And Piccolo's like, yes, absolutely.
Fucking coolest thing. It's like Piccolo's like, he's like, where am I going? Piccolo's like, I'm gonna be real, bro. It ain't heaven. And Vegeta's like, that's okay. Dragon Ball rules. I've been watching more Dragon Ball movies. I was about to watch the Tree of Might yesterday, and then I just hung out with a friend instead.
Just getting out of the way in advance.
Yeah, I figured I might as well. I don't want to be doing two things at once. I might even get a head start on Brave Battle Warriors. I don't know. Gundam BBW.
Oh, that is what that abbreviates to, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, before we, coming up on Ultraman, we have, and, you might detect some bias in my voice when I say this, the best episodes of Ultraman Ace.
Yeah.
I think.
I like at the very least, up there, like maybe the crucifixion ones are up there with them. But
Yes.
I think we can say those are at least the two best batches we've had. Because the crucifixion one also had King Crab.
There's also
True.
this week we've got the rebound effect of last week. It's over. This week we're back.
We're back. Will we be back next week, or will it be over?
I might be a softer we're back than the two of you, but we'll see.
No, here's the thing. My thoughts will formulate as we talk about them. Because, I watch them brain off. I summarize them brain half engaged. And then we talk about them. Where was I going? Oh, yeah. The structure of the show that we make. Before we do any of that, all I have done this week is I have rewatched for like the third or fourth time Thunderbolt Fantasy, the season 1, which is the puppet show. This is Toku. It's Toku related.
Yeah.
Taiwan puppet show, written by Gen Urobuchi, my guy. And it's fucking sick. It's puppets doing wuxia shit, kicking the shit out of each other. It's gory as hell, and I love the guys in it. It's got a great guy. I got to say hello to the Screaming Phoenix Killer again.
He's a good guy.
He's great.
That's a good name.
It is a good name, especially when he refers to himself in the third person sometimes. He shows up to meet someone with like a flute that was supposed to be delivered, and the guy it's supposed to be delivered to is like, "Where's the guy that was supposed to deliver my flute?" And the Screaming Phoenix Killer says, "Well, that should be obvious. First, your flute is here. Second, I am the Screaming Phoenix Killer." He killed the guy. He's like a very famous assassin. I'm prepping for season 4 is going to come out later this year, and then the movie's going to come out in 2025, and that's, I believe, going to be it on Thunderbolt Fantasy, is what it has been said. That movie's going to be the finale, which...
Damn.
Damn.
I hope it gets translated in a timely manner.
Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah.
The finale,
It
movie being in a translated title. It's crazy.
It's just out there. It hasn't been translated. People, it's so confusing. Thunderbolt Fantasy is great. It's like the season 1 is like a heist, basically. They gather like a bunch of they fucking it's a fucking Ocean's 11. Wuxia Ocean's 11 with puppets, but like
that's
it's
amazing.
It's not actually Ocean's 11. I'm exaggerating, but it's they gather the guys and they're gonna to be fair, it's Ocean 6. It's they gather heroes of the realm, quote unquote heroes in the classical sense, and also a mysterious stranger who is wrapped. Yeah, so some guys suck, and then there's also a mysterious stranger who has got wrapped up in this by coincidence. And what's his deal? Where's he from? Why does he claim to be from the country that lies across the wasteland of spirits, which no one could possibly cross? That's Thunderbolt fantasy. It's sick. I don't have anything to say about it. I've watched it hundreds of times. I will be watching. There's a movie, and then there's season 2, and then there's another movie, and then season 3. Season 3 is the one I just don't remember. I watched it week to week when it was coming out, and I only half remember anything that happens in it. So hopefully it's not that it was mid, and it was just that I did not retain it.
I have to rewatch.
Fingers crossed.
Season 1 and 2. I never finished. I never got through season 3. I think I watched the first episode of it. But I would not retain any info from the first 2 seasons to like. I think what happened is like I started watching season 3, and then I was like, well, I don't remember shit from season 2. So.
I see. Yeah. Well, that's kind of all I got this week. What's everyone else been up to? Brad?
No.
I've been up to a lot.
Let me go first.
Yeah, you should go first, honestly.
Yeah. So I don't have much, so I'll get my stuff out of the way. First thing to note, I'll talk about it more next week, because I think next week's when the arc actually racks up. But Precure did have its 1,000th episode today, which I just watched. So.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Didn't it start in, like...
2004.
2000... Jesus Christ. 1,000 episodes over 20 years, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's been airing every week since, basically.
Yeah, 50 episode shows.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers. But things are looking good.
It was touch and go early on.
And then, but just a quick book I read, just because it's a follow-up to a thing I brought up on the show before. I went through Edward Said's The Question of Palestine, his follow-up to Orientalism. To my understanding, this is like his 90s book, Culture and Imperialism, is like the actual, I guess, thematic sequel to Orientalism. But this book or whatever is like the second book in the quote-unquote Orientalism trilogy that he did in like the late 70s, early 80s. And to be honest, it's a pretty decent book, but also I feel like it's less essential and there's less for me to say, because just kind of like, oh yeah, here's like the historical background and like the facts surrounding like Palestine is experiencing settler colonialism, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's the stuff that I know.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's good, it lays it all out, but it's also like stuff I think a lot of people are probably familiar with it, especially in the recent months, where it's kind of like it's front of center news, and so it's kind of like people are learning a lot more of the facts that they didn't know before, and it's kind of just out there more. So, it's pretty decent as just like a primer, I think. It's also interesting because it is from like the, late 70s, early 80s.
It's from a period when it was a little more in vogue to be like quite, not that it isn't, but it's like it's a little less questionable a position to be openly Zionist.
Yeah. Which I think is probably where the value of the book probably comes from in like historical context. But it is just like the book talks about like, oh yeah, the Iranian Revolution just happened. The Soviet Union is still around, and like, the last chapter of the book is, Camp David happens. What are the implications of this for the future? And meanwhile, I'm like, it's me. I'm here in the future, watching the consequences for like.
That's always like a awkward little bit when reading stuff from the past, where it's like, oh well, I've lived this.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, you know what? He wasn't off the money. I mean, Saeed, isn't like a Marxist or anything, so there's limitations. He's like definitely like still a liberal academic, but it is. Yeah, there's some of it where it does feel like this is obviously a book written in a particular period of time, and we're living in like a different moment because like it's been decades, and conditions are moving forward. But on the other hand, some stuff is like, yeah, it's just been the same. It's just been this for like 7 years, huh? They've been doing the same shit. Like the war crimes you see is just like, oh yeah, they did this this decade and the previous decade and the 70s and the 50s and the 40s, and the liberals' reactions were all the same. It's like, oh, look at this. This prime minister is a beacon of democracy, and meanwhile, it's just like, oh, this guy did ethnically cleanse a family in his military career. It's like, okay, cool, great. So, interesting as like a historical document, I guess. There's probably like maybe better sources now for the modern era, especially when things seem to be coming to a head in the region at the moment. But I think probably like worth checking out as like historical importance. But like obviously, I think like Orientalism is like the more just relevant as like a work of political theory, more so I think.
Frankly, that's the only Edward Said work I've ever heard like mentioned. I did not even I've never. This is the first time I'm hearing about other stuff he's written, to be honest.
Yeah. So like I think like Orientalism is a big one, and I think his second big one is cultural imperialism. And then I think sometimes people also bring up Letters of the Intellectual, which I think is more about like, I don't know what that's about, but it doesn't seem like it's kind of the same thing. But yeah, these other two books of his like quote unquote Orientalism trilogy, which is like, the second one is The Question of Palestine is one. And then I think the next one is, let me just see, blah, 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 blah. I'm on his Wikipedia page, trying to find his bibliography.
He's not still alive, is he?
No, he's dead.
Okay, I was like, I wonder what he'd have to say about
he died,
the current situation.
He died 2003.
Okay.
Well, the book was Representations of the Intellectual, was not Letters of the Intellectual. Oh yeah, the last one in his trilogy, is Covering Islam. Is the third one. So I'll check that one out next, probably. Oh, The Question of Palestine doesn't even have a page on Wikipedia. That's crazy. Okay. But yeah. That's a Edward Said update. Lore relevant to the podcast, I guess.
Yeah, ever since Bluestone and Variety.
Yeah. And then otherwise, maybe we'll talk about more in the future, but I've been picking away at the web novel Unjust Depths. That's cool. I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but yeah,
I have heard many good things.
I want to read it, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, I meant to get around to it because I know M plugged it on GGP like last year. But I didn't actually push myself to do it until like they started doing a podcast about on normal mapping, so I've been picking away at it because of that.
I'm in a weird spot where I too would like to one day write mecha prose fiction, but I have this problem where there's only so much of it in English, and the stuff that is in English tends to be like Western mecha in a way that I don't care for, and a lot of like the stuff that's like Japanese is untranslated.
You don't want to read BattleTech novels?
No. or the fucking Robotech novels that I had at some point because my cousin gave them to me and then I never read them. I think I donated them.
Yeah.
Are there any... Oh, go ahead.
To the audience who just might not be familiar with it because they aren't in the same circles we are, is like a web novel, mecha, anime-inspired, very communist and gay, set in an underwater setting as opposed to like a space setting. So,
Yeah, I'm... The appeal of Unjust Depths to me is I could read it at work.
Yeah, it's pretty breezy. I mean, it's long.
I keep not doing that.
because like let me just see. It's like I think it's split up into
please don't tell me how long it is.
Oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, like, there's like arcs, and arcs are set into like chapters, but like each chapter is set into like, I guess you call them sub episodes. So like there's chapter 1.1, 1.2, etc. And like the point ones, point twos are like pretty breezy, I think. So I won't tell you the length, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty good so far. Maybe I'll just look back around to it when I finish like this current arc I'm on, because I'm like 2 chapters and like a half in, which you know is obviously more than that when you take into account as like sub to episodes, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like decent ways in, but like feels like I could go further and then be like, okay, that's the one arc down, so I can talk about it then. So,
all right,
but it's cool.
Cool. Brad, you did like one big thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in reverse. I'm gonna go in reverse order because I have 2 minor things. So,
okay.
Last night, because Shelved by Genre did a bonus Patreon episode on it, I was like, I should finally just fucking watch this. Me and my friend Ray watched Conan the Barbarian.
I thought you were going to talk about The Good Witch.
No, that would be funny though. The 1982 Conan movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's
different Conan from the one I've talked about.
Yeah, very different. That movie was better than I thought it would be. Like, I just kind of assumed it was kind of like a trashy, like, 80s fan. Like, I don't watch many. Like, I love fantasy. It's one of my favorite genres. I don't watch a lot of fantasy movies because a lot of them, especially of, like, a specific time, were just, like, bad and not, kind of schlocky and just kind of whatever, like, very trashy. And that is kind of what this is to an extent. There's more, like, life philosophy in that movie than I anticipated, which was kind of fun. I also never knew it was rated R. A lot more titty going on that fucking screen than I expected to. But it's just dumb fun. Yeah, just, you get to see Arnold, just running around and, doing, like, basically 4 back-to-back D&D adventures. Sometimes the movie gets kind of racist. There's barely a plot until the second half. It's kind of fun seeing how influential it was in terms of, like, walking through the wilderness, like landscape shots and big sweeping orchestral music. And it kind of how it inspired, I would say, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff, even. Like, it feels like Lord of the Rings, like, the Jackson films are kind of doing, like, a buttoned-up version of Conan, honestly, a little bit, was one of my big takeaways. But it's just a dumb, fun movie with, like, these randomly, like... It's the meme of they didn't have to go this hard. That's kind of how I feel about the script for this movie, whereas, like, every 20 minutes, it's like, oh, damn, this is actually, like, a really nice scene where, like, Conan and his newfound friend are just talking about, like, the nature of the gods they believe in. They have, like, a little theological argument, but it's clear, like, they don't have much life experience outside of, like, their random travels and, like, thieving, like, escapades, so, like, they're doing their best to, like, talk about the nature of life through that lens, and it's good fun. I actually highly recommend it, especially if you like fantasy stuff. I feel a little bit remiss I have not yet, like, sat down and watched it. Part of this also, too, is, I have recently become what I would describe a short story, enthusiast. I don't know what else to call this, but, I've started reading Harlan Ellison again, because they've been reprinting his stuff. They're finally going to publish a version of The Last Dangerous Visions, which is like a stuck in, like, production hell short story anthology that was supposed to come out in, like, the 70s, and it's finally coming out, like, 50 years later, posthumously or whatever. And I've just been reading a lot of his stuff. I've gone back to, like, pulp magazines published in the 20s and 30s. A bunch of that stuff's just on Internet Archive. I've been dabbling in some of that before bed. A lot of bad stuff in there that's just like, oh, damn, someone just wrote this because they needed to cash a check. But sometimes you read something, it's like, oh, this was like a neat little adventure. So yeah, I might have more on that. I might actually go through and actually just read the Conan stories too, because I didn't know this till recently. That dude only lived to 30.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
and
who?
Robert E. Howard, I believe is his name.
He only lived to be 30?
He was only 30, and the Conan stories are all in the last 4 years of his life, writing for magazines.
Oh wow.
It sounded like his family had a lot of like mental health stuff going on, and he was like very close to his mother, and his mother was older and passed away, and like as soon as she died, he like went out to his car and shot himself.
Damn.
I had never known that
geez.
until like I looked into this movie, and I was like, oh, like I just assumed he was like a dude who like got older and like, you know, kept writing Conan stories until he died. Not the case. He was like, I think I am older than him now than he was when he passed, which is wild. But yeah, Conan was fun. What was, I don't know if I'd call it fun, but I enjoyed, was the Jinx Season 2 wrapped up, which I talked about 6 weeks ago when the first episode dropped, to my surprise. I feel like this was... I kind of checked in on the overall internet reaction to this, because much like my initial impression, I think a lot of people went into this season thinking, did they need to do a season 2 of this? This kind of just seems like a cash grab, maybe. I think it won people over by the end. It definitely won me over pretty much right away, but it's not as impactful as like a piece of like, I guess, true crime drama, if you want to call it like that, what the first season was. But what you do have instead is this interesting documentary that is broken up into, I would say, 3 different storylines of the fallout of the first documentary and kind of the impact it had on what the legal case looks like. The second one is the actual trial and legal case itself, which is mainly focusing on how do you form a legal case against a guy who looks like he can, like, is an older dude who kind of has that friendly grandpa vibe to him and looks like he's made up of like rubber bands and tissue paper and could fall apart at any moment. There's a really funny scene where like the defense team has him talk about like, oh, tell us about the day you remember watching your mother commit suicide, and tell us all of those memories of your mother that you have. And you hear this old man talk about like, yes, it was always me and my mother when we were growing up. She used to play frisbee with me, and we'd play Uno and like all this different stuff. And then the prosecution goes up and is like, Mr. Durst, are you aware that neither Uno nor the Frisbee were invented before your mother died? It is just like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. You just show that this guy is just a massive fucking liar. And like that part of it is kind of interesting. But the part that I think I and probably the audience clung on to the most is they just go through and examine and explore all of this dude's closest friends, that definitely, whether intentionally or not, helped this guy get away with murder for like decades upon decades. Some of them feel bad about it. Some of them were probably not as aware that they should have been that something was up, but you know, they're like, well, I trusted my friend, and what are you gonna do, sort of thing. Some people absolutely fucking knew and were hoping that when this dude died, they'd get some of his money. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the question of, hey, when a rich serial killer dies, what fucking happens to his money, kind of goes unanswered legally by the end of this season. And there's kind of an ongoing legal battle over it, and I do actually think there might be enough there for an interesting season 3 if they wanted to make it.
Season 3, The Will?
It's interesting. Like, because there was someone who married him who absolutely only did it for the money. And like, it's obvious with how she treats him. It's obvious in, like, her words and deeds. But then also, too, the ex-wife's family, like the one who disappeared and was never found again, was like, hold on, like, we were failed by the legal system and this guy's lies for many, many years. We should be compensated, and, like, you know, that she has as, like, her estate and her will has as much right to that money as, like, you know, his current wife does, sort of thing. It's kind of an interesting legal battle there. So yeah, Jinx Season 2, maybe not as memorable or will be as, like, important in the culture as the first season, but still pretty interesting. Now, the big thing I'm going to talk about, Combo Breaker, was last weekend. Famously, we lost the recording where I gushed about how Frosty Faustians was perhaps the best weekend of my fucking life.
Yep.
Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think this Combo Breaker was even better.
We saved it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now we just have to not lose this recording.
So true. Now, I am not alone in thinking this. Me and my friends that I hung out with most of the weekend, and, you know, by hung out with, I mean we shared a fucking hotel room, all kind of in mutual agreement were like, this one felt special, and, like, this is only my third tournament, but, you know, some of those guys have been going to tournaments for, like, 10 years now, so, you know, I'm gonna take their word for it, too, that there's just something in the air this time around. I did the best I've ever done in tournament, results-wise.
How'd you do? Give us the breakdown.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the breakdown. Under Night in Birth 2. 2 wins, 2 losses.
Okay.
Considering my first match was against a training partner for one of the dudes who was in top 8, not feeling too bad about being sent to losers bracket right away. But yeah, going into this tournament, I was kind of, funnily enough, I did not practice Under Night as much as I thought. I haven't really been playing Under Night. Part of that is because I've become a little depressed with how they treated my boy Chaos, this version of the game. Further discussion with fellow Under Night players. My main might be the worst character in this version of the game, which is not great. Just a puppet character with, like, they really butchered his ability to apply pressure with the changes they made for what gets rid of the puppet. I don't want to harp on this too much because I've talked about this before on the podcast, and it doesn't make any sense if you don't play fighting games. But they just, like, made him a lot weaker. The changes they made to the system seem to have buffed everyone else, and he doesn't get as much of a benefit from, like, the system changes that were made. And also, I've seen a lot of people state that they think his combo routes are, for whatever reason, less stable in this version. Like, stuff just drops more frequently than it seemed to in Clear, which is something that I kind of felt, but I just assumed it was me being bad at the video game. But I've seen other people go, like, no, like, stuff, like, enemies pop out more than they used to. And I've seen the expression used that sometimes when you're doing combos, it feels like you need to babysit the combo a little bit and make micro adjustments, like, constantly to make sure that people aren't popping out. And it's just a little annoying compared to how it used to be, where it's just like, okay, I can just hit the fucking buttons and do the motions in the order I need to, and more often than not, they'll be fine. But I think this was weirdly to my benefit, because I lost my first match, and then the next person I had to play, I was waiting around, and I was like, how come my match hasn't been called yet? And then my friend pointed out, I think the person that you're gonna fight for your first losers bracket match is on stream right now. And sure enough, I look up at the big fucking stream setup, with, like, the big screen they have for the audience and the chairs to watch, and my opponent is fighting someone on stream. Now, most of the time, they get the good players to fight on stream. So I went, fuck, I'm gonna be out of this, aren't I? So sure enough, I sit down with the person who, well, I guess technically I was gonna fight the loser of whoever was on stream, so I didn't know who exactly I was up against, but whoever lost that game I was going up against, I'm like, shit, they probably got, like, the killers on stream. I sit down, and it was close, but I won it. And I genuinely think that, and the match I won after, I won because I don't think the other person knew how to handle my character. Like, I was doing pretty basic 101 stuff with Chaos that I just don't think they knew how to deal with. And I was just like, oh, well, I'm just gonna fucking run this into the ground for all it's worth. And I think sometimes when you play unpopular characters, that that can be a benefit because nobody practices against them. They practice against like the meta characters that are much more of an immediate threat. I felt a little bad. The second person I won against, I was using this term a lot the weekend because sometimes you beat people in these games, and I was using the term low self-esteem Larrys.
Oh.
So sometimes you beat someone and they just like,
oh,
I'm so bad, I'm so terrible.
And it's like, come on,
you're fine.
Okay.
Yes. Like I literally told the dude, I'm like, no, like, dude, you're doing okay. Like it's fine. But it sounded like this maybe was the person's first tournament. And we talked a little bit after, and he was just like, yeah, I was really nervous, and like it's weird playing with the crowd behind you, and I don't know. I feel lucky because I kind of can't relate to this because last year was my first combo breaker, and I didn't really have nerves playing in front of an audience. I don't know if maybe like, I have a history of streaming and doing stuff in front of like, live stream audience. I don't know if that maybe helped, but dude was not able to land stuff consistently, and I was just like, I mean, the more you'll go to these things, like the more you get used to playing in like a live setting like this, you'll get used to it, and I think I cheered him up a little bit, thankfully, but did way better than I expected at Under Night. Same with Street Fighter 6, which funnily enough, those were the two games I did the best in. And, well, in the official tournament, I'll put a pin in that. Those were the two games I did the best in. I practiced the least. Street Fighter 6, my Cammy was cooking a little bit in pools. Also in my Street Fighter 6 pools, I went 2-2, by the way, in that as well.
Nice.
One Reggie from the channel Wooly Versus was in my fucking Street Fighter 6 pools. And while I was waiting around for the pool to start, fucking Wooly and Reggie come up, and I'm just like, oh, hey guys, and we started talking a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I love your guys' stuff. And then I gave Wooly a fist bump. I'm like, I gotta give you credit for being one of the OG Gundam Seed haters. And he was like, oh yeah, anytime. And I was like, did you see that movie? And he went, yeah. And I was like, it was terrible. And he was like, oh yeah, it was the worst. And then we just started bonding over our hatred for Seed Freedom. And that was great.
It brings people together.
It really does. And then he started like kind of I don't know if I'd want to say venting, but he was like, yeah, because he must have talked about it on like Castle Super Beast.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. But he was like, yeah, I can't remember, but I think he said something like, I got something wrong, or like, I misremembered something and people got mad at me about it. But he was like, he basically was like telling me like, yeah, I wanted to go in harder on it, but like I fucked up. And I was like, that's a shame, but it's all good.
It's okay.
But then
we did hear.
Yeah. Wooly left, and then, I just talked with Reggie a little bit between pools. And, like, I did kind of want to give him space, too, because, like, I understand how it is with, like, big streamer person just trying to, like, play in tournament and, like, whatever. So, like, we talked when it was, like, natural. I didn't want to, like, be that annoying guy who was, like, orbiting around or whatever. But no, like, we got along just fine. We were chatting, joking around. And he made it out of the pools, actually, so, kudos to him. He got that Chipotle. Because they're giving out free Chipotle cards if you made it out of your pool. And we were just chatting a little bit, and he was like, yeah, it's kind of weird going to these things now, and, like, people recognize me and stuff. And I was like, well, I mean, you do good work. And he was like, oh, thanks. And then when I got eliminated from the bracket, I tapped him on the shoulder because he was putting his stick away after a game, and I was like, I'm out, but good luck for the rest of your pool, man. He's like, oh yeah, thanks, nice to meet you. Good luck on the rest of your games too. And I was like, thanks, man. Then I walked away. And I was like, damn, I just had a nice, very pleasant experience with both Wooly and Reggie. That was neat. I like those guys. So
yeah.
Now, one of two games I cooked in this weekend was the fucking mystery game bracket.
Okay.
I got to the end of my pool and then lost the last fucking game.
Oh, wow.
Now which game was this?
It was so here's the thing, it's the one game I do not know the name for, but it was like, you know the game Nidhogg?
Yes.
Where like you have to get to the end? Yes.
Yeah.
It was like a version of Nidhogg that played a little bit more like Smash and had like combos and stuff.
I think I remember seeing this game, but I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
I don't either. It had 2 characters. It might have been a demo for a game that still like needs to come out. But it was cool. Like me and the person playing were actually like, this is kind of fun actually. And I meant to grab the name, but I had to get going because it was rubbing up against like my next like pool time. So I was like, I need to get out of here. But games I played included some Avengers game that wasn't Marvel vs. Capcom. It was like a weird like pseudo like 3D sprite style like I think it was like Avengers and Galactic Storm or something like that. It was weird. Bad fighting game, but I destroyed my opponent in that. Next one was, I think, called Super Indie Kart Racers or something. But basically, the entire game seems to be based on, like, Mario Kart battle mode. Like in, like, Mario Kart 64 or, like, Double Dash or whatever, where you have, like, the little, like, arena mode where you, like, destroy each other rather than racing. It was a whole game based around that. The game mode we were playing, you didn't actually need to... My opponent did not get the fucking memo, because the mode we were playing was called, like, Shroom Hunt. And we had to go around and collect these, like, mushrooms that were growing on the stage, and whoever had the most at the end won. My opponent kept just trying to attack me, and I do not think realized you had to pick up the big glowing mushrooms.
Oops.
And I kept winning matches, and he kept going like, what the fuck, I hit you so many times, how am I behind? And I just didn't say shit.
Do not interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake.
Yep. Yeah, that was great. I can't remember, actually, off the top of my head, the other... Oh, yeah, no, of course I remember the third game I played. It was fucking Arcana Heart. I've never touched Arcana Heart before, but I think I just understood anime fighters better than my opponent did, because they were struggling. Then the next game I played, the original Darkstalkers.
Okay.
Round 1, when I took the first round and my opponent said, fuck, I'm used to Street Fighter 6. It's so much harder to input special motions in this game. I went, I won. I've already won.
Yeah. How is Darkstalkers 1 compared to VSAV?
Much clunkier.
Yeah.
Much clunkier, but I had no problem committing my special inputs. Let me tell you. And then the next game we played was WarioWare, and it was a first to 4. It was 4 out of 7 games of playing like the WarioWare versus mode, where it like randomly gives one player a mini game to play. And you lose lives if you fail the minigame, and it keeps going faster and faster. It went to the last game on, like, the last life for both of us. The dude running the tournament walked up to us and was like, are you guys still playing? And we both went, yes! I just barely lost. I was so mad, but, then the last game I played was like that Nidhogg clone or whatever, and I got eliminated. But I was like, fuck, one more win, I would have gotten my own Chipotle card. It would have been the mystery game tournament. So yeah, I went 5-2 in that one. Tekken, I went 0-2 in, and then the next day Marvel 3, I went 0-2 in. Which, like, I'm not surprised with Marvel. That game, like, 100 people sign up. The people who sign up for Marvel are mostly killers. I'm just signing up because I like that game a lot. I'm not that good. I got some good games in on both of those playing casually. At 4:30 a.m. at Combo Breaker is a weird vibe. It's a pleasant, fun vibe, but also a weird vibe. Wooly randomly came up to the Tekken setup I was watching, and he was just like, hey man, do you have a Sharpie? And I was like, no. And he's like, okay. And then he walked away, and I was like, what was that about? He probably needed to sign something, but I was just like, it felt David Lynchian at the time. It was weird. But that same Tekken setup, the Mortal Kombat players came over, including Competitor, I didn't know him before this incident, but apparently he is a very, very well-known Mortal Kombat player. He spells competitor with a K because, you know, you gotta. Took second at EVO this year. Or, sorry, not at EVO, at Combo Breaker.
Sorry, I just have to check. 1K, he's not speaking Maoist standard English.
Yes,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
just the one. Just the one.
Don't put the dollar sign in the US.
But yeah, he is just like, yeah, do you guys want to play Tekken? And we're like, sure. And then he was very drunk. And I started playing Tekken against this guy, and I was like, okay, I don't really know who this dude was. I didn't learn till after the fact, like, oh yeah, no, he's like done very, very well at Mortal Kombat tournaments before. Actually, I need to backtrack. The reason he came up was because in that room there was only one Mortal Kombat setup, and all of the DLC characters and all the unlockable characters were all locked, and he was like, who the fuck brought this?
Lol.
It was very funny. But then he was like, well, fuck it, I play a little bit of Tekken. Who wants to play Tekken? And I was like, yeah, sure. Kicked my ass, but there was a very funny incident where I was comboing him with Reyna, and people behind us started, like, talking, and he paused the game to turn around to join in on the conversation. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then he turned to me, interrupting himself, and he went, when I unpause the game, don't drop this, by the way. And then he kept talking. And then he turned back to the game. He's like, all right, I'm going to unpause. You ready? And I was like, sure. And then I nailed the rest of the combo, and everyone went, oh!
Nice.
That was amazing. I met the guy who made the when it's the race war and I have to take out Tony Hawk tweet. He gave me popcorn.
Oh, you meet everyone.
Yeah, so I never put two and two together. That dude is Silent Hooper, better known probably in the Under Night community as Jack Enoff, which is the name he enters tournaments under, so that when he wins in top 8, people yell, Jack Enoff, Jack Enoff. I think last Combo Breaker was the first tournament he did that in, because we had the famous match between Jack Enoff and Mike Oxlong.
That's the one, yes.
Yes. So, you know, we all joined in on the crowd chant at top 8 for Mr. Jack Enoff. Dude was really nice. He knew my friend Johnson, apparently, so we were chatting a bit. Also was super drunk. Everyone gets fucking wasted at these events, is what I've learned after they're done with the top 8s. So he was neat. Under Night top 8 was amazing to watch, and also Tekken 8 top 8 was just a huge fucking crowd. Compared to Strive top 8, which is the most popular top 8 last year, like, the difference in magnitude of the size of the crowd is, like, hard to state, but it took up, like, half of the fucking, like, big main area they had set up for the tournament. And the energy was magical. Like, it was just amazing to be part of that. It was like, oh, damn, like, this is an event. And that was awesome. But yeah, Combo Breaker, amazing experience. Oh, fuck, okay, I actually forgot to talk about the one thing I was most proud of. This will be my last bit, then we can get the fucking Ultraman. I'm sorry for going long, but it was amazing time.
Listen, we're under an hour, so you're still doing pretty good.
Yeah. So, as I've discussed at Frosty Faustines, the Gundam Extreme Versus community has maybe had to go a little bit underground to play the latest version of the game that It's not even the latest version. That's the fucked up part. Bandai just does not want to release Gundam Extreme Versus 2 for consoles, which means we can't get it over here because we don't have Japanese arcades. But, you know, sometimes you figure out, like, a pirate server solution to be able to play Gundam Extreme Versus 2 Cross Boost. And then you buy some PC towers to bring to tournaments. And bring multiple monitors to get it set up, and you just don't talk about it too loud. And I was actually laughing because the person who's bringing the second setup now changed all of the usernames to be like Raven, Michigan, Rusty, like Armored Core names. And I was like, yeah, you got the memo on this. You're nailing it. But we did a shuffle tournament on day 2, which basically means that you queue up for a match, and then you play the match, and then you have like a record that factors in the difficulty of the opponents that you fought against, your current win rate, and the amount of games that you played, and it tiers the players by their performance. And then the top 4 players of that tier were going to play one last match to decide, like, you know, like who won the tournament or who wins the shuffle tournament or whatever. I got top 8 out of like 36 people.
Nice.
And it was going on I think it was going on for like 8 hours, and I left because I had to play Marvel 3 pools, and then after, we left to go get food. I'm not saying I could have gotten higher than top 8 if I had stuck around all day, but I probably could have gotten higher than top 8 if I'd stuck around all day. I don't think I would have gotten top. Yeah. I don't think I would have made it to top 4. Like, the people who were all in the top 4 were all people that, like, I struggled against playing. I do think they were just better than me. I think I probably could have gotten, like, top 5 or 6, though, if I had stuck around. So that was fun. And I was like, okay, I think I've proven to myself I'm actually pretty solid at Gundam Extreme Versus. Actually, funny enough, one of the people that did get also in top 8 was helping coach another player. And like, she was just giving some advice, and then she was like, actually, never mind, your partner's just killing it right now. Then I turned around, I was like, oh, thanks. So yeah, it was nice to get that external validation of, okay, no, like, people who are good at this game also respect some of my decision making when I'm playing matches here. But yeah, unforgettable experience. I highly recommend Combo Breaker. The thing that everyone always fucking says about Combo Breaker is that it's secretly the best major in the US. EVO is the one you go to for the spectacle, but if you actually want to sit down and play games with people and, like, converse and talk, Combo Breaker feels more like a celebration in a way, whereas EVO feels more like a sporting event and a convention. So yeah, I am so excited to go back next year. I really liked the size it was this year, and I'm kind of getting worried. Like, it seems like if it gets any bigger, it might be a little too cramped for comfort. So I'm kind of hoping that it sticks to about the size it is now, but we'll see. These things aren't getting any less popular, so
I'd like to go next year. That'd be nice.
It would be fun. It is a great time, and like, the venue is wonderful. It's they have it set up very conveniently where it's just easy to get around. Everything you need is like within decent walking distance, and there's no shortage of excellent food options nearby. We went out to eat basically every night, and like, it was all delicious. So yeah, fighting game tournaments are fun. I highly recommend them.
Sick.
Nice.
Cool. Right. Well, if that's all, then we can talk about Ultraman. I believe.
Yeah.
I believe.
I don't even remember what the fuck this first episode was. Please refresh my brain.
It was called... Episode 22 was called Vengeance Demon Yapool, featuring vicious...
Wait a minute.
Go ahead, go for it.
Wait a fucking minute.
Yeah.
Can I just talk about last week's
Yeah,
episode?
Yeah, go for it.
So, I did not listen to your coverage of the episodes. I stopped after the first part of the podcast. Because I've been busy with work deadline stuff. I'm technically late and still dealing with work deadline stuff, which I'm going to do after we're done recording this. So I didn't get a chance to watch the episodes before listening to like the first part of the pod. Mm-hmm. So I have not listened to your reaction to the last 3 episodes. I see. But
okay.
Now I know I'm the guy who likes it when these shows get weird.
Yeah.
Don't know how I felt about the last batch of 3.
We didn't feel particularly great about it.
Okay. I'm happy I'm not a fucking wet blanket here. That boat guy was kind of strange and bizarre in like a way I find very fun.
Yeah, so that he was my highlight of last week. Absolutely.
Same.
He's
I don't know if I'd even call that episode good. Why did that boat float? Right, I don't actually remember.
This is the thing that we kind of hit was like, this episode either needs to explain less and lean more into, the boat is a metaphor, or explain more. What's the plan here? What's the Yapool plan here? Oh, it makes the boat float, and it's like, why? What do you do? What does it do? It flies to the North Star and back again. Why? What are you talking about?
I thought the Kappa episode was atrocious, and then the third episode, I was just kind of like, I don't care.
I think the Kappa episode was the most put together episode of the batch.
It probably was, but I did not. I think part of it, honestly, Choju designs are very not hitting for me a lot of the time, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah, I thought this, because we've had Kappas before, I thought this was a better Kappa than we've had previously.
Yeah.
But the one that we had previously that I remember, we were all in agreement, was genuinely atrocious.
Yeah.
I think I remember that now. Yeah, it was really cheap. That was not great. That was the Ultra 7 one, right?
Yeah.
The weird episode where it just went silly mode for some reason.
Yeah. Unlike all the other Ultra 7
remember
episodes.
they just killed one of those guys? What do you say, Fred?
I said, unlike all the rest of the Ultra 7 episodes.
Yeah, true.
No,
Kappa Mikey clears.
Kappa Mikey.
I'm not gonna go to bat for Kappa Mikey. I bet I don't think Kappa Mikey holds up. I don't think it ever held up. I don't think I liked that show when it was current.
I never watched it when it was current. I was like, damn, this looks bad. And I was probably right.
When did this air? 2006?
It's in the mid-aughts. Yeah.
Damn. The Kappa episode did lead to the moment where I don't know why. Don't put this in the show. Don't put this in the show is when his older sister is like, "Hey Hokuto, do you want to see my belly button?" And he's like, "Oh, for Christ's sake, what's happening here?"
I was like, what? I was like, what are we doing?
He's like,
I'm
trained for this. And yeah, I was the final episode, the Angel, the bit that we kind of liked was learning that Ryu, Captain Ryu's superpower is that he's normal, is that he's like he's like, he lives on his own, maid knocks on his door and is like weird, and he's like, I'm having none of this. I'm having none of this. Please get out of my sight. But yeah, it's not the best.
I was honestly a little pleasantly surprised by the reveal. He just does not have a family. He's just a bachelor living alone.
Oh, we learn his sister has he has familiar relations, but he doesn't have the wife and kids to ignore in the way that
he just like me for real.
Yeah. Yeah, that was last week's episodes. Not great.
Significant power gap, I think, between this week and last
week.
Which isn't hard because of last week, but
I like one of these episodes quite a bit.
One of these.
I don't know about the other two.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spicy.
We might have some fun today. Episode 22, Vengeance Demon Yapool, featuring Vicious Choju Black Satan. On a routine patrol, Minami scolds Hokuto for never asking her out, and he says, "I'm busy." And I'm like, you have the same job. They witness the fall of a meteorite, and after a quick glance, they figure, it's probably no big deal. Unfortunately, it is absolutely a big deal. From the meteorite comes a Yapool, disguised as a man. He attacks a bunch of people, and the next day, TAC are called in, and Yamanaka chews out Hokuto for failing to properly assess the whole meteorite situation.
A lot of I feel like charged imagery of the Ultra heroes chasing after a masked motorcycle rider.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this evil man on a motorcycle who's a masked guy.
Yeah.
What is Super Ed trying to say here?
Yes, the Yapool infiltrates and attacks a power plant, and the crew gives chase on foot, and then as the Yapool escapes on a motorcycle, and the evil villain on a motorcycle.
Nice show, Toei. Unfortunately, I've depicted your character as the evil villain on a motorcycle, and myself as the true good Christian hero.
Yamanaka and Mikawa pursue in the patrol car, and the Yapool uses telekinesis to knock Yamanaka and Mikawa's car off the road, killing Mikawa. Yes, that's right, killing her. Straight up. Yamanaka goes for help.
This is not a thing that happens that is worried about in the rest of the episode, so don't worry about it.
Yamanaka goes for help, and by the time he gets it, Mikawa's body is gone. She's been saved by the Yapool, who revived her and took her to a hospital as part of his scheme? Yamanaka is confused. He was sure Mikawa was dead, but he accepts that this was his error. The Yapool, disguised as a man, claims to be Sakai, a sculptor. Mikawa starts hanging out with him at a school where he's building sculptures of Choju based on the kids' requests. A couple of things happen here. Sakai gives Mikawa a toy dog, very important detail, and and Hokuto notices Sakai's bracelet, which is the same he saw the Yapool wearing in the attack on the power plant. Hokuto tries to get the crew to leave the scene so he can talk to them about this, and then Sakai uses his telekinesis to knock over Mikawa with a football. This prevents... Brad, it's a soccer ball.
Thank you. I got nervous. I started sweating a little bit.
I will say we also call it soccer here.
Mel? Soccer ball.
Bring it in. High five.
Okay, thanks.
So he knocks over Mikawa. This prevents nothing, and the crew leave. I guess he was just feeling petty. I don't know.
Hokuto breaks his leg.
Oh, okay. That's when that happens.
He falls off the ladder.
That's when the injury happens. I see now. I understand why this is. I fully was just like, this didn't do anything. I was like, they leave anyway. What was the point? Hokuto reveals his discovery to the full crew. You know what? With that football, the Yapool sealed its fate because Hokuto is on hand to deal with the dog toy later.
True.
Yeah.
Hokuto
television.
Hokuto reveals his discovery to the full crew. The scientist has an alien detector disguised. What's the scientist's name again? Because he comes up a lot.
Kaji, I think.
Kaji. Okay, I kept referring to him as the scientist.
I do think it's really funny. He's like, I have developed this device to detect aliens, but it has to be in the form of a necklace that he wears.
Yep. Mikawa, in an effort to prove Sakai's innocence, takes up the job of getting him to wear it. But Sakai knows everything about this because the toy dog is a spy. It's got a camera in its eye, and to demonstrate this, the toy... Yeah, the toy, turns.
It's good.
Mikawa gets the necklace on Sakai, and he's totally an alien. But it's too late. His sculpture of the Choju, Black Satan, is finished. It turns into a giant Choju and starts wrecking shit. The crew deploys to attack, but Hokuto has to stay at the base for this operation, as he was injured earlier. At the base, the toy dog opens fire, and Hokuto destroys it. He then runs off to grab...
They get in a fucking shootout with a plush dog.
It's great. He then runs off to grab a tack arrow. He and Minami transform, and they fight Black Satan. Mikawa grabs a gun and tracks down the Yapool, who is on the roof of a building watching the fight. She guns the Yapool down, and Ace defeats Black Satan with a lightning attack. The crew finds Hokuto and Minami, and Hokuto brags that he's immortal because he survived his crash from, the arrow. The end.
Yeah.
I wish... I really wanted to like this episode more than I ended up liking it. Firefight with a plush toy dog aside, which is maybe one of the best things that's ever happened in the show. I wish Sakai is his name. I wish he was more of a guy than he ends up actually being.
Yeah, there's a degree to which they introduce this it's he's a saboteur, he's a secret guy, and then he gets 2 scenes. He's at the school, and that's it. He's just making the Choju.
Deep down, I think also part of my gripe is I wish this was more of a Mikawa episode that, it kind of is, but it isn't.
Yeah, she does kind of...
I don't think they go in enough on her.
I do think it's cool when she sneaks up behind him and just murks him.
Mm-hmm.
That is rad.
But but you are correct that it is not of the quality of the what you call it episode. The word. What's the word? The word that we keep saying on this podcast because it's relevant. Incel. The incel episode. Not quite up to the standard of a Mikawa episode as the incel episode, but
yeah.
I was like, there's a degree to which I don't know if this started happening. I don't know if this is just a consistent problem across Ace or if this started happening at some point. I feel like if I asked the writer to explain what the plan was, they wouldn't be able to necessarily.
Yeah.
Like why does he revive Mikawa? What's the point? Like you could be off building the Choju in secret. Like I don't understand.
And it made more sense if Mikawa was like more overtly mind controlled, but she's just fine.
Yeah.
Like I thought
like I really thought they were. I really thought they were gonna go for the thing like, oh, like deep down he actually did care about her enough to spare her, and like he's gonna be conflicted, and that's not really no.
We've got an episode where a Yapool saboteur almost like became turncoat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I can understand why maybe Ichikawa was like, yeah, I don't think the Yapool thing worked out how I wanted it to. I'm gonna head out.
Let me tell you how much it doesn't work out. Apparently, they're not going to be in the show anymore. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
More on that later.
Put a pin in that. Yeah. But it is weird to me how much they seem to be struggling with the Yapool's plotting, like. And scheming and making them a recurring villain, and I almost think part of it might be because they're forcing themselves to use them every episode, and I think what I would have done if I was doing this show is you have some that are just like normal kaiju stuff, like of the Earth, maybe some from space every now and again, but then you have the Yapool come in and throw a wrench into things every now and again, or they have monsters of their own, and maybe give those ones a more unified design so they kind of feel special and different and kind of more coherent.
Some kind of terrible
it really does feel... Exactly. There's some terrible monsters in this show, let me tell you now. But it really does feel like they made an Ultraman show, and then they went, fuck, we need to put the bad guys in that we said we're going to be in as the big major villain that return every week. And they feel either like an afterthought, or it feels like they gave up and just said, well, fuck it, we're just going to make this a normal kaiju thing.
Yeah, it does feel like
I think that's a shame.
It does feel like they said, all right, we're doing Yapool, the big main villain thing, and then they forgot to not write just another Ultraman show.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah. Like they didn't change their approach to writing Ultraman episodes to actually reflect the fact that there's like an overarching villain.
And I just wish the Yapool felt like they had more of an identity than they actually like.
Also, I think you have a point. Like if the distinction of what a Choju is could like matter more if it's like there was kaiju to go against them. It's like, oh, the Choju is here. It's like a real difference.
And then we can do the thing that we wanted, where the kaiju organizations are getting mad that the TAC are getting involved with kaiju.
Like there's a spat with Matt, and you have like Kushida coming and like, why are you approaching our territory?
Oh, it would be such a good crossover episode.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, the
is
Yapool...
Mikawa coming back?
Oh, go ahead.
Is Mikawa coming back a medical miracle?
Ooh.
Ooh. I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I disagree.
What greater disability than death?
Anyway.
Well,
I believe in medical miracle.
Ultraman, thank you!
I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, now that we've played the funny clip, I have to now say my answer to the question: what's a worse disability than death? I ask the people who are really encouraging euthanasia.
Yeah.
You mean the Canadian medical system?
Yes. Yeah. So sorry. There's a drastic clash of tone.
It's okay. My country is even.
Wow, same. All three of us.
Whoa, what a coincidence!
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if there's like one common origin point between the three of us.
You're doing the collar stretch, collar grab.
Okay, I'm sorry to go back to this, but you set me up. During Tekken Top 8, there was one American player, and everyone started chanting, USA, USA, but he was fighting Arena, so when everyone stopped chanting USA, I was a little bit drunk too, I'm not gonna lie. I shouted out, I love Electric Wind Godfist more than my country!
Yes.
And then people behind me started laughing.
I wonder if you can say the $sign in speech, so you can speak Maoist.
I think unfortunately Maoist is a language of the pen. It would take a master to master like true Maoist speech. You can get the K's across, but I think the $sign is difficult. So you mentioned like the identity of the Yapool thing. Rapidly walking back my biased statements earlier of these episodes being the best episodes of Ultraman Ace. The thinking about like the next two episodes where, you know, it's like the Yapool identity is just like, did you fight all the Yapool? Did you fight one Yapool? Why are all the Yapool gone?
I had questions. I have several logistical questions about that.
Yeah, so did they just fuse into one guy?
They did the dance.
Is it like yeah, I was just thinking like, do they become a collective?
Yeah, maybe that.
Is that why they're called Yapool? They pool together.
Oh.
And also, they read young adult fanfic.
Yeah, we're banning Brad from this podcast. He's gone now. The YA pool. Yeah.
The YA pool.
Honestly, that sounds like a terrifying villain.
Ultraman Ace! Ultraman Ace is just like a metaphor for the Western publishing industry, like decades after it aired.
Yeah, clearly.
Galaxy Brain.
The YA collective does sound like a terrifying villain for a Toku show. I don't.
Hey, speaking of YA collective, these children really want Ultraman to die. They're all cheering around the Choju statue, this one's for sure gonna get him this time.
The franchisement in universe of the kaiju / Choju that attack people is one of the strange pieces of lore building I just like need to understand.
You buy a Imagine if you could buy like a natural disaster figure.
It's like, because like, you know, the kaiju are marketed outside of the universe because they're like mascots, but then they reflect that in universe, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there are big friends that destroy us.
The name Black Satan also goes so fucking hard, and I think it's better deserved for something that's not another monster of the week.
It's funny how much like in this era of Toku people are just calling things Satan.
Yeah.
Like
I appreciate it.
There's
honestly.
Satan in Ultraman X, I'm pretty sure. Not Ultraman X. That's fucking.
Oh, I've just seen
Tens. I meant Kamen Rider X. That's like the show era.
Hang on, I'm looking at the Black Satan design. I've just seen the massive like bulge that Black Satan has.
Oh,
I did notice that.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it at all. I do
Most
think,
respectful Ultra Q host.
I do think. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Well, you know who's the least respectful from episode 1 of Ultraman? Yeah.
Good blowjobs on the brain. So what were you going to say, Mal? Did you have anything more?
Oh, I was just saying, like, I do think, like, the statue he has in, like, the yard is pretty cool looking. Like, it's a good animatronic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It has, like, the glowy eyes.
I do think the Yapool, who I think when doing research was called Space Mask, particular, also called Alien Silver, but whatever. It's called Space Mask.
Space Mask.
I like his design, even if his mask in particular does literally just look like they wrap tinfoil around a guy's face. He's like dressed for the disco, and then like he's got like tinfoil around his head, and it's pretty good.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, unless we have anything more to say about this episode, we can find out who made it.
Directed by Eizo Yamagiwa and written by Shozo Uehara.
Oh, so this is another thing we had to observe about last week is Yamagiwa made the Angel episode, I think, and I celebrated because finally the guy that we don't like took an L.
We also noted
Was that the first L he's taken?
It might be.
It might be.
We also noted that he seems to have a thing for personifying constellations.
Oh, the writer did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because he did the crap.
I haven't
Oh
noted.
yeah, because that's like the folklore. Yeah, that's like the folktale guy. Yeah, that makes sense.
I have a note about Uruhara.
Oh, fun.
Apparently, this is the last episode of Ace he did.
Oh. Is there a reason, or just is that...
he seemed to just... He just felt like it was too hard to do a show about two protagonists, so I guess he's like, yeah, I'm out.
I think the rest of the writing team would agree with that.
he just felt overwhelmed. He's like, nah, I can't do this. Bye.
Right. I don't want to be mean, but like, don't be a baby. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it did feel kind of petulant. Just Ishikawa left because the show wasn't doing his vision right, which I get, and then like everyone else is like, who's not doing the vision right, was like, this is hard. Then leave.
It's hard to write two characters.
It's hard to write two characters, especially when one was a girl.
Get a fucking grip.
I'm also just now realizing, as soon as he leaves, did they just go, oh, we're getting rid of the fucking aliens, right? Yeah. Is that what happened?
It might be. All right, again, I don't, people have had their difficulties and stuff and, make various decisions and they take different routes through life. But, like, you're a professional writer. What are you talking about? Anyway.
He's just like, I'm gonna go over to Toei and work on Kamen Rider because it's easy. The irony being that he's gonna go on to be like the head writer for the first 5 seasons of Super Sentai, which is...
Oh, like the 5 character show?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. What's he talking about?
He heard our admonition across time. He was like, okay.
That sounds like I don't want to work here anymore and I need an excuse to get the fuck out of here.
I think he still works on some Taro episodes, but I do think he's like transitioning over to Toei full time at some point within the next few years.
Okay.
I don't know how much he's written on Kamen Rider, but I'm assuming he's definitely doing Kamen Rider stuff before he becomes the Super Sentai guy.
Because correct me, like, that is the thing he is most fondly remembered for, I believe, right? Is the Sentai stuff, too? Yeah, it seems like.
Let me just see. He wrote... Oh, no, he didn't write any... Yeah, his first Kamen Rider credit's actually black.
Oh, that's like 90s, too, isn't it?
That's
or like later?
That's early 80s. That's late 80s.
That's one people really like.
Yeah, so he's...
That's the one that one of the writers we talked about wanted to write for, and then they're like, we can't, there's too many people on already. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, instead he, wrote most of Go Ranger. But he did other Toei stuff first.
Okay.
Yeah, it says initially writing the genre. Let's just look at his Ranger wiki page. Is like wrote for many early Ultraman, including being the obviously head writer for Return of Ultraman, and then he became the head writer for the first 5 Sentai series. I'm wondering, we can look at that later.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't need.
Anyway,
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I guess I have my own trivia. But like,
yeah, I was gonna say we don't need the Yamagiwa breakdown. We've got the story. We know who that motherfucker is.
Yeah, I just meant like Uehara.
Yeah. I was just saying because we mentioned. Did we mention it was Uehara who wrote this episode?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying we don't need the breakdown on Yamagiwa who directed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can move on to your stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I just double checked on the Japanese wiki. Yeah, he does some stuff on Taro, but from like Robot Keiji onward, he's primarily a Toei guy. So that's the Uehara stuff. Anyway, special effects director is Koichi Kawakita, who we talked about last week. So Brad, you can eventually go listen to that. Weird guy, to be honest.
Ooh, okay, I have something to look forward to then.
The last special effects director of Toho, apparently. Space masks, no design given, no designer given, but the actor is Yukio Tomikawa. And then Black Satan was designed by Yoshio Suzuki. Apparently, he's got holes in his head for rocket launchers. The original design had less, but they had more, I guess.
Oh.
Truly terrible. That's all I got, really.
All right. Sick. Well, in which case...
Can we talk about the best titled episode of the show so far now?
A game changer. Episode 23, a game changer. Here comes Zoffy. Briefly.
A game changer.
Game changer.
He changes the game.
Yeah.
It will never be the same. Featuring the alternate terrible being Yapool. You were in the last one. You featured in the last one. Stupid. An old man is going around talking about end times and persuading children to follow him in song and dance. They sing, put your trust in me. Put your trust in yourself. Put your trust in God. The old man takes a group of children to the beach and declares that the ocean is yellow, the mountains are brown, and the flowers are dead. And as he declares these things, the children begin to see them that way.
It may just be you and me, but do we really need anyone else? Can't break me down.
Hokuto watches from the edge of the beach and calls in that nothing unusual is happening. First of all, there is absolutely something unusual is happening. But, weird to report it. And then the children and old men vanish. He runs down to the beach, and it starts to snow. Back at base, no one will believe his story, especially as the map says there's no beach there. Hokuto is extremely distraught, and the captain restores Hokuto's smile and optimism by ordering an investigation of the beach. Everyone leaves, and the captain is left with Kaji, and he admits, I don't actually believe Hokuto's story. And Kaji admits that, perhaps I do. Minami drives Hokuto away and tells him a story of how she saw a soul in a fireball once over her neighbor's house when she was young. No one believed her, but then the next day someone next door was found dead. She had witnessed their soul. This is like encouragement to Hokuto. She takes a detour to join the investigation, and Hokuto sees with his own eyes that there's no beach there. But crisis strikes. All over the world, reports of similar incidents start pouring in, including from Paris. Paris mentioned. Hokuto has a strain. Yep.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, oh no, they've invaded heaven.
Damn, they broke down
the cherubs have been tainted.
Broke down the pearly gates.
I don't think I've posted that. I don't think I've posted the Paris mentioned it picture.
We have an opportunity now.
Yeah.
Hokuto has a strange vision as he watches children walk to... It's either a vision or it really happens. Hokuto's children walk to a beach and vanish, and he follows them, and he's like, where did they go? He meets the captain on the beach, and Captain Ryu tells him that his two nephews have been taken. There must be something we can do. If only we could attack the Yapool in their own dimension. And Kaji is like, yeah, we could do that. It involves the Mobius strip. Wow.
Somehow.
How? Don't ask questions.
Not to be confused with Ultra Nebius, which we'll get to eventually.
Yeah.
I love how he's showing the Mobius strip off. He's like, kids, you can do this at home too. And I was like, ooh, a science project.
Not with people.
And he's like, yeah, we have what we do is the same thing to the human body. I'm like, what do you mean? And so the human body is more complex than a strip of paper. So like the process of making all of it the front would be dangerous. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Hokuto...
Me trying to flirt. I'm going to make your body into a Mobius strip.
Oh no.
That one goes hard. Hokuto volunteers, and the crew successfully sends Hokuto to the alternate dimension by spinning him around a bit in a tube. At this point, one has to wonder what they expected Hokuto to do on his own. But Minami leaps into the alternate dimension with the help of Zoffy. Zoffy's here.
Yeah. And he's gone again.
Yeah. Now, this is the wildest thing about this moment is presumably everyone back at HQ is like, where the fuck? Where did Minami just go? She just fucking vanished.
Yeah. I feel like there was a moment in like one of these episodes where like Minami just runs ahead of the captain and jumps into the sky to clap hands with a... Like this was last episode, I think. Minami just jumps up in the air and touches Hokuto when he's crashing in a plane or something.
It has never...
That sounds about right.
It has never been more obvious to the team that it's them who's transforming. But as has been established, the team does not believe that supernatural things happen ever. And therefore they are doing a me every time they see a Hokuto and Minami do something weird. They're like, it's probably normal. It's probably nothing weird. Hokuto and Minami turn into Ace and battle the unified Yapool, maybe? Question mark.
Yeah, I was so confused.
Ace defeats the Yapool, and as they die, they promise that 1, the Choju won't stop, and 2, the Yapool will become a curse and take revenge. On Earth, the old man collapses into the sea and is swept away, and the vanished children fall gently from the sky. The narrator tells us that, unbeknownst to our heroes, the shattered pieces of the Yapool have fallen to Earth. The crisis is at our doorstep. The end.
I really like this episode. Part of it towards the end gets really... Everything with the Yapool fight at the end is really dumb.
Yeah.
But I really like the stuff around it.
I'm a big fan of this episode.
I think it's good. I do think it's funny that Zoffy Deus Ex Machina's Minami away.
Yeah.
Here's Zoffy.
Why is he the title character of this episode? They killed the Yapool.
That's the game changer.
That's the game changer.
But here's right. But as evidence for how he changes the game, all I had to do was tweet a screenshot of here's Zoffy, and it's like it's got at least 100 retweets. People see the image and it affects them.
I think that was me because I retweeted it and then my Ultraman mutuals retweeted it.
Here's Zoffy.
Here's Zoffy.
I want to believe Zoffy is just an inside joke at this point of like he doesn't actually do anything, but everyone's like, yeah, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
I hope he continues to do nothing. I like him this way.
Oh man. Zoffy just as like delivery guy is good.
Sam Porter Bridges, but it's Ultraman.
Zoffy could unite America.
He could.
Fucking yeah. All the stuff in like the first half of this episode with is payoff to me for the 22 episodes of, for some reason, no one ever believes Hokuto.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, finally, they're getting like commentary on that.
Yeah,
Like-
as the scene where Hokuto is like, you have to, why don't you all believe me? I saw it. It was there. Having his like breakdown in the HQ was
Yeah.
fantastic.
The zoom out when like Ryu calls his name is like a good shot too.
Mm-hmm.
From like,
Yeah.
so it's good. The good camera work here.
And once again, the captain hero doesn't believe him, but is like, well, we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
investigate.
like that detail, actually.
It's a good
Yeah.
detail.
I thought it was more.
Does his due
It
diligence.
was interesting to me that Kaji was like, well, maybe.
Well, Kaji's the most. He's Ichi no Tani coded. He's got Ichi no Tani science, so you know he's down for some nonsense.
I really enjoy everything about the old man Pied Piper ass, like starting a weird cult. This entire time I was watching this episode, like, I wonder if Eizo Yamagiwa did this one, because that would be really funny in, like, a dark way, but he did not.
You know what? I think, in some ways, I think it's better.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want another situation like when Ichiro Honda does commentary about, like, women.
Yeah. I think the stuff with the kids vanishing, the like weird illusion effects of like, oh, the beach isn't here, like all that stuff is great. The fact that it like gets weirdly global, like out of nowhere, I thought was really fun. That was a good detail, especially if you're gonna do like the big send off for the Yapool. Started to lose me when we got to like the sciencey stuff, and we're just gonna whenever you do something like this, it's like, why didn't you just do this like 10 episodes ago with like invading their dimension and attacking them?
Kaji's been saying like, what? I told you about this. Did I not tell you about this? Did I not say this? Oh, that's my bad, man. I'm sorry. I thought we all knew that we could go attack the Yapool. I just thought we figured it was too dangerous. That's all right.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we'll send Hokuto. And it's like, what's Hokuto gonna do? I don't know.
I don't understand if they're trying to do like a second Ultraman style retcon of Yapool was actually just the one guy, or if it was all of them coming together, or
Reverse
I have no clue.
It's weird because like we see the shots of like the Yapool in earlier episodes, and like I posted it like the other day. They even made like a high grade figure of like the weird Yapool guys.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see
And
that?
there are multiple when we see flashes of them, right?
Yeah. So I don't really know what's
Yeah,
up
that's
with,
what
like,
I thought.
I'm not really sure what like Yapool. I don't know what they're doing. To be honest, like I've seen this design of Yapool before they use in this episode, but like I'm not really sure what's up with like them being an organization / one guy.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's quantum.
but
Maybe it's
then-
quantum. Maybe the moment there's an observer in there, it's one person.
Oh. That'd be rad. That would, like, actually be kind of fun if, like, they didn't play by, like, the rules of our dimension almost in a way, too. Me implying quantum physics or other extra dimensional, but
Ultraman Ace, you better be taking notes. The Yapool better be operating on like quantum mechanics, and the reason there was only one guy in there after Ace was in there was because Ace was observing.
Oh, that'd be
It
so
had
sick,
to resolve.
actually.
It had to
If they did
resolve
something
into
fucking
one
like that.
probability. Yeah.
Now, I didn't care for that stuff, but the part where chunks of dead Yapool are crashing to Earth and will become problems, I thought was rad as shit.
Yeah, I think that's it seems like a decent way to like. I guess if you want to like, if the Yapool as a guy / organization isn't working, then I guess this is a way of like doing a more standard Ultraman episode in a way that works while keeping Yapool is like, oh, the weird Ultraman episode of the day is also like there's a Yapool curse going in the background. It's kind of neat, I guess. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Futariwa Precure. Not in the specifics, but in in the way that like that show, like the grand finale of that show is like happening in the mid-season, and you're like, well, obviously something's going to stop this, right? And it doesn't. They everything happens, and then it's just there's new stuff afterwards. It's like there's new bad guys for the second half of the show. It's but the possibility that Ichikawa left and everyone was like, okay, so we're getting rid of the Yapool, right? Like immediately, is very real possibility. Being able to like kind of perceive writing drama from the surface is really fun.
Yeah. But yeah, this is, of the last 6 episodes of the show we've watched, I think this is the one where I'm like, okay, I actually like this one with some caveats, and
You don't like the next one with its fucking Bloodborne bullshit?
I'm gonna be honest, not really.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
It's something. Do we have anything more to say about this episode before we do any production stuff?
Was it?
Piss water.
Oh, well. True.
Yep.
Yeah, I also thought this.
The ocean.
Bad grade of yellow they used for
The
that.
ocean is piss.
That's why the flowers are dying.
Yeah. True.
Bury me.
I think I saw on the wiki that the song was based on a song by a group called Hajime Hana and the Crazy Cats.
Oh.
I don't know anything about that.
So did they just take like a popular song at the time and make it like a weird child cult thing?
Maybe I'll edit the lyrics. I don't know. I'm not gonna dig into this more than that, to be honest.
Did Suda51 also take the title of this for flowers for a game?
That song's really good though.
That song is very. I've listened to that. So it's a good song.
Absolutely. Same. Okay. Who made this episode?
Tadashi Mifune, and written by Tadashi Mifune.
Okay. This
double dipping.
You know what? It kind of comes across because there's a real unified vision here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some trivia about that, apparently.
Oh.
Okay.
Apparently, the decision to just kill Yapool was something he decided to just do for this episode. And
Did he ask anyone?
Like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
He's just like, okay, we'll do it. They rolled with it. It wasn't a mandate from above. He's like, yeah, I said do it.
Damn, bro. All right.
You just do it.
Well, Mal, you got more stuff.
Yeah, so special effects director is Koichi Takano. The old man Yapool is played by Shoji Oki. The giant Yapool design is Yoshio Suzuki. He apparently designed it inspired by both crabs and also Enma, the Buddhist judge of the dead, was his inspiration.
Okay.
And the suit actor apparently for this one specifically is Isao Zushi. Also, I made an important discovery that I was not aware of. The narrator for the show the whole time has been Shin Kishida.
Who is Shin Kishida again?
Ken's actor.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That is cool.
Yeah. Ken watching from heaven, watching all this.
Man. His episode of Return of Ultraman slaps.
He should have written more of them.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly.
he's a cool actor, but damn, his episode is really good.
All right. Well, unless we have anything more to say about episode 23,
No, not good.
we can move into episode 24. Behold, Midnight Transformation, featuring alternate dimension being Mazaron, who is not a Yapool?
Yeah, what? Yeah, I was a little confused.
Questions.
Yeah.
Multiple.
I was not expecting them to come back to the old man. And like this to be a two-parter in a sense. I'm gonna be honest.
I think it kind of makes sense because it feels like they're setting up what the new formula is going to be.
Mm-hmm. So there's a kid called Kenta. His mum is pregnant and his dad works in shipping and so is always away at sea. His dad sends a letter saying, "Oh, I'm in Kuwait at the minute and I won't be back for a while. But I've sent a piece of special glass in the package that's supposed to bring good luck. So, sorry, excuse me. Give it to your mother and look after her." Kenta's mother accepts the gift and is like, "Isn't it great you're going to be an older brother soon?" The narrator is like, "I don't know about you, but that glass piece seems like it's probably a piece of the shattered Yapool to me."
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. The old man from last episode is out in the waves still, and he starts up with the "put your trust in God" stuff again. There is a brief shower of red rain, which Kenta's mother gets caught in, and which Kono is like, it's just a little bit of red rain. What is wrong with you people?
No, I actually learned this recently. Apparently, in parts of the world where there's high iron density, red rain is actually not uncommon.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that applies to Japan, but it's not bad for you. It's just like you can drink it.
Okay.
It's just iron makes it red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, about your business, Kono. You're
But
okay.
I do think they intend this to be a weird thing, for sure.
That night, Kenta's mother goes missing, but she appears again in the morning, so maybe it was nothing. The following night, Kenta, scared as he is, sleeps in the same room as his mother, and when she changes for bed, he sees red spots on her skin where she was caught in the rain. He says nothing, she sings a lullaby, and he falls asleep. He dreams of walking a lonely road, chasing after his mother. When he catches up to her, she becomes an old Gorgon with snake hair. She chases after him and he wakes up and his mother is missing. Kenta heads out into the night and sees his mother and follows her to a nearby park where she communes with the spirit of the Yapool's vengeance. And they tell her as she bows and kneels, "Earth is our mother, mother is our creator, who builds a bright future. You are a mother. Now you will be given power. Give birth to a child with power." She turns into the Gorgon, and a Choju that sounds like an infant appears in the park. She fawns over the Choju, and Kenta flees. Horrifying. Kenta is picked up by Tak, and they don't believe him. Hokuto and Minami are sent to check on the mother, and the Kaji runs in, saying, "Activity in the Earth's core has been weird since the rain." Hokuto sleeps in the same room as Kenta that night to let him feel safe, but they both wake up from strange goings-on. Kenta's mother has disappeared. The two head to the park, and they watch the ceremony take place again. The crew arrives and attacks the conjured infant Choju. It doesn't seem to do anything, though, and in the end, the ceremony ends when Kenta runs up and just throws a rock at his mum's head. The control is broken and the Choju vanishes, revealing itself to be just an illusion. No wonder the crew couldn't damage it, which means whatever is responsible must be elsewhere. Mikawa tells them over the radio that Mount Fuji is erupting. Aha! Hokuto and Minami get there quick and transform into Ace. Ace flies into the volcano and there finds Mazaron. They fight, defeat Mazaron, and then the old man at sea melts into froth in the water. Ken informs us that the Yapool have been completely foiled and are never coming back, maybe? What now? Kenta and his mother go to watch his dad's boat come into port, along with Hokuto and Minami. The end.
I think I might like this episode the more that you talked about it.
It's got cool vibes.
Yeah.
The one scene that really stuck with me is when she's conversing with the Yapool ghost and there's all the floating candles around her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something about I think the kid and his mom's relationship wasn't hitting with me this episode.
Yeah.
But, like, listening back to the summary you gave, I'm like, I don't know. I do... Maybe I'm warmer to this than I thought when I first came off of it.
I think the style... This episode has a lot of style, a lot of flair. I think the vivid red that people find themselves in, the kind of, like... treating, like... reality kind of loosely is fun. Big fan. And there's just kind of like ghost story vibes, like horror vibes to this that I think it really benefits from. Like the moment I kind of sat up and I was like, oh, okay, we got vibes here. Was when like the red spots on were on her skin, and I'm like, okay, there's some, we're kind of in it. And then the illusory Choju with the crying like baby or like happy baby sounds. I was just like, this is incredibly unpleasant.
It's just the horror vibes are pretty strong, which I appreciate. Even as someone who's like not a horror person, I can like I can appreciate it in a setting where I'm not actually scared.
Yeah. I think the like resolution of this is weak. Is my criticism of this episode.
Yeah, they do just go fight.
I'd agree
they
with
do just
that.
have a kaiju fight, but I do think the visuals of like, oh, Mount Fuji's erupting and Hokuto and Minami go rushing over is pretty sick looking.
I don't even necessarily mean the fight. I think just from memory, I quite like the fight, and I quite like the setting of the fight. The resolution I mean is throwing a rock at his mum's head. I'm like, okay, was that the best you could come up with? I was like, was that it? Was that the power of the son and mother relationship?
Yeah, I guess so. The end of the episode is weird, I do think. Just like the weird freeze frames and music.
Or the boat sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're doing with that, but,
Yeah, I thought, because, like, he's talking about, like, I'm gonna fight Choju, and then there's, like, brrr, and then there's, like, freeze frame, and I was like, is that supposed to represent the, like, mental anguish you suffer upon hearing that your child wants to grow up to be a combatant one day? And I was like, no, I just think that was, like, a weird artistic choice they did to close out the episode.
Yeah. It's either that or he fell off the pier and died just then, and we're supposed to be, like, mulling over this, like, oh, no.
Hokuto maybe was like, oh, well, rip.
Rip to that child.
Hokuto's like, it's fine, there's a sandy beach down there.
Hokuto, no, there is not. Please check the map. Hokuto never opens the map.
Hokuto downloads mods to make it so that you can't use fast travel in New Vegas. And then he gets lost and complains about it.
Oh no, I'm Hokuto.
I'm also Hokuto.
I'm in this moment. I'm Hokuto. I hate did I ever?
Because the fast travel is bad.
As we established last week, Minami does use fast travel.
Minami does use. Oh yeah, this is true. This is. Oh, I'm glad we're learning the differences between Hokuto and Minami here, with more character for the both of them. The most fun I had in there's like a chest in Elden Ring that in like one of the early areas that teleports you somewhere really unpleasant.
Yeah.
And bright red, and like once you get out of that mine and like up to the like red sky, you can open the map and just fast travel back. And I just had to be like, I'm not doing that. I'm walking back.
So fun.
I'm riding my horse back. I'm stranded out here. I left directions for other people who were like me. I found directions and I left some of my own. It was good. Back to Ultraman.
Yeah.
Speaking of red, yeah, that volcano fight, I'm quite partial to.
It was a fun change of pace, like, for changing up the setting for what they typically do.
Mm-hmm.
The red filter was, like, maybe a little strong, but it definitely gave it a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. otherwise, I'm mostly just here for like obviously this episode is being like mother birth horror stuff is like it's weird about mothers inherently. That's how it happens. But I haven't like really sat down and thought through like what the kind of ideas are around what this is communicating about, like Kenta's relationship to his mum, really. So I don't know that I have it in me to like say like perceive what that's really about.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you think Hideaki Anno likes this episode?
Oh,
Probably.
Probably. We have a list of his Ultraman.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, it's 24 on there.
Anno, Ultraman. Let me find this list. List. Oh, the first image is him in the Return of Ultraman fan. Okay, here we go. Ultraman Ace.
5, 7, 13, 26.
26.
No.
Not these ones.
We're coming up.
Coming up though.
Which one was 5 and 7 again?
That's a good question.
5 and 7, I have the book. 5 is the giant ant terrible monster versus the Ultra Brothers.
Okay.
And then 7 is monster versus terrible monster versus alien.
Okay. The one where Muchi shows up for 2 seconds before dying.
Okay.
In this episode.
Yeah. And good old Yamanaka's fiance.
Damn.
13 is that's when they get crucified. But not when they win. Okay.
Okay. I like that his recommended episodes was only one of those that two-parter.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
He did that for
recommend
both
the other
two-parters.
part.
Yeah, he did that for both two-parters, because the monster, like the three-way battle thing's also a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like death. He doesn't like gore of his comfort character Maruchi.
Yeah. The more that I'm flipping through this book, and I once again looking at the image they use for episode 24, which is just the monster in the volcano. I think maybe part of the reason I didn't care for this too is also, again, I just not feeling the design on this one. It's all right. It's not the worst. I think I like it better than Black Satan. But yeah, I don't know. Also too, I couldn't help but feel this too, and also I feel like this is just something that I'm gonna probably just need to contend with. But I do feel, despite the weird bouts of excessive violence this show has, it also feels much more for kids in a way that, like, I don't necessarily know that Return did. Like, I don't know. Maybe it feels like more after-school adventures. Sometimes.
It fluctuates. Sometimes it feels like, I don't know. It definitely sometimes feels like we're like really like fully engaged with like this is superhero stuff for children, but and then sometimes it's like it's very different. Like, you know, the incel episode is like, how is this? This can't.
That's
be
not for kids.
That can't be for children. They can't relate to this. You're talking about going to a reunion and meeting a guy who's like creepy and been obsessed over you for years. This is completely alien to a child.
And like I almost wonder if part of that too is like last series we had like the cicadas, or like even the episode with like the captain choosing his work over his wife and daughter, but like a little bit more of their lives in a way that made it, I feel like, I don't want to say adult drama, but like it was a little bit more down to earth, dealing with like slice of life like issues and looking at their adult lives in a way that I don't necessarily know if we get with TAC.
Yeah, I do think maybe there's like a bit of a progression. Because if you recall, originally, like in my production history, I said they started the show with the idea of it being more like adult oriented with its themes, but also there is kind of like the cultural shift where kids are the main audience of Toku happening at this very moment. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like two clashing impetuses, really. It's like an attempt to make this show more adult, surrounded by the industry is going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's like kind of like when you had like Ultra 7, where they're like making just a good science fiction show, but the culture is leaving behind what they're doing, kind of thing.
We were so right a few episodes back. Taro is gonna be for fucking babies.
Yes. I'm confident in that prediction.
Yeah, just like fucking goo goo gaga, fucking.
That's gonna be. You know how they all have distinctive sounds. That's gonna be the sound that Ultraman Taro makes. Goo goo gaga.
If that is the case, I hope we still like enjoy it. Like maybe if it's
Taro,
if
jangle the ultra boo boo keys to transform.
Maybe if they just set out to make a show for kids, it'll be like easier to.
Yeah, I mean,
you get more out of it than when they're trying to feel like they're
like not hitting either audience. Yeah. I could see that.
I like shows for kids.
Yeah, I watch Precure.
Yeah.
Precure, the show where a character goes, "Wow, that animal, maybe it's a tiger. It has stripes." The audience. The target audience for the show does not know necessarily what tiger is. So,
man, I need to get to more wonderful Precure. I've watched 2 episodes now.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like shows for kids, but like the ones that are like easy for grown-ass adults who should know better to go on the internet and pretend are for adults.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
Like Gundam.
Yeah. Oh, the classic is like, how can anyone call this a show for children? It's like, well, very easily.
Well, when the big primary color robots that are on sale on the shelves at the toy store, every episode transform and do the thing. Adults, definitely for adults.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck were we talking about? How did we get onto this? Oh, because Ultraman Ace. Yeah, Ultraman Ace. Yeah, the tone. It's weird because like this is this episode is also of a kind of for children tone, but in a different way, because it's like, it's about like weird kind of like familial relationships, that like familial developments that might seem scary to a child.
It's like a Goosebumps book a little bit, honestly.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Because like now that I'm thinking about it, it's like she's like, oh, you're gonna be an older brother soon, and this kid is like maybe like a little more frightened of that idea than he wants to let on. Is the idea that his mother, he's not going to be the kid in the family anymore. Yeah, I don't know. We will see how Ultraman Ace continues to develop. We have half the show left. Do we have?
Is the rest of the show just going to be battling Yapool chunks?
It might be. I don't know. Because like they battled one Yapool chunk, but
that might just be because it's a 2-parter.
Yeah, they battled one Yapool chunk, and then the narrator Ken at the end was like, "Oh, well, that's the Yapool problem solved." Then and I'm like, "Is it? Is that true, mate?"
Oh, that's true.
I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
We have a next. We'll see. We'll see what's coming up next.
Yeah. Who made this episode?
Oh yeah, let me get the booklet back. So this was again directed by Tadashi Mifune, and then written by Tadashi Mifune, but then also written by someone named Kazuo Hirano, who I could not find jack shit for once again.
Damn.
I thought I could, but then I thought I could, but then I saw that somebody hyperlinked someone else's name on his name. And I was like, oh, maybe it's because it's an alias. And then I looked deeper, and I was like, no, I actually, that dude's name was just next to his, and I think someone hyperlinked the list of people who wrote for the show. So,
F. Mel.
Okay, so Yoshiko, who becomes a kaiju, is played by Tomio Iwamoto. Both kaiju, we got are designed by Yoshi Suzuki. The baby, I see the subs call it Mazarus, but I've also seen one thing called Mazarius, which I think makes sense when I look at the katakana. So I'll call it that because that doesn't sound weird. Mazarius is repurposed from a Sabotender suit, but they gave it a new head. Which, does look like a cactus. That makes sense. The Mazaron, I've seen in the Japanese it's called Mazaron Jin, which can be translated as like Mazaron Man or Mazaronian, which is similar to episode 5, the other Yapool alien, Giron Man, Gironian. We can just call him Mazaron though, just like the way we call like, Pole or Spell, etc. Weird alien nomenclature, whatever. But anyway, apparently the Giron from episode 5 was originally going to be in this episode. Like, that was a plan, they thought, but then they made a new guy instead. So.
Oh.
All right.
So that's interesting. Interesting, same naming sense, same reappearance, whatever.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
all I got.
All right. Well, is there anything more to say about this episode that has not already been said?
I think we're all right.
I think I do like this more the more we talked about it. Like, I think there's stuff in it that is more broadly indicative of just, like, maybe I'm not feeling Ace as much as I wish I was because of how Ace is. But the episode itself, I think, actually has a lot going for it, the more we talked about it.
I think again, my main complaint with this episode is just throwing the rock, and it's like, oh, it knocks her out of the control, and I'm like, we have the power of friendship. Come on, what the fuck are you doing? This is, what year is this? 70. We've got that. That's kicking around somewhere. Yeah. Otherwise, I think this is pretty good. These two pretty good episodes. Well, what else do we do in this show? We talk about color timers. Can you tell us the color timers?
And then that's trivia too. But yeah, color timers. Episode 22, 4 minutes 19 seconds.
Damn.
Episode 23, 3 minutes 26 seconds.
Closer.
Also, Zoffy, 24 seconds.
Let's go.
He's
all he needs.
All he needs. Play of the game. MVP.
Episode 24, 3 minutes 45 seconds.
Not a single W this week.
No.
Damn.
Taking L's.
Well, except for Zoffy, obviously. But Zoffy knows how to keep it under the time limit. He just doesn't really show up much.
No. Doesn't show his hand.
No.
Except to Minute Maid, who he carried inside.
Yes. Do you have some bonus trivia from like Ultraman?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
So for special effects directors, Hajime Tsuburaya did episodes 12 and 13. And then Koichi Takano did episode 11 and then 14 through 18. So he's
involved.
They went on a tear there.
Yeah. Anyway. Now we got Gango, the Rascal.
Oh, yeah.
Suit actor Teruo Aragaki. His suit was repurposed from Bemular. The Mummy.
Yeah.
The suit actor was Hideo Mitsuki, who was an actor who mostly did period dramas. So his role as the Mummy was the only suit actor role he did as a kaiju. He only did it because he didn't have to put on too much. And even then he was like, this sucks.
So I can imagine.
Being in those suits does seem miserable.
And then later he retired in 1970 to take over his family business. So I know.
They beat that guy up in that episode.
Yeah. Apparently, Takayama.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, just say what you're gonna say.
I was just gonna say, it's like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you're not used to this. Listen, we're just gonna put some bandages on you, and then don't worry, a bunch of guys are just gonna chase you around and try to hurt you.
It's so funny. They're like, oh, we brought back this mummy back to life. It's a shame we had to kill the mummy. He probably would have been, if we didn't dig it up, it'd probably be alive. Oh well. Arashi
holding his gun like, we don't shoot first and ask questions later, man. Come on.
Apparently Takayama wrote in his diary that there was also a suit actor from Toei called Onako for the mummy, and Missy was like, yeah, I know anything about that. Maybe this filmed some scenes I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Fog of history. Dodongo, suit actors Teru Aragaki and Yukihiro Seno.
Okay.
I don't think there was a. I forget if I did a bio. Whatever. I'll see you later. I'll look around if I need to. Anyway, sculptors Takayama. The kaiju is the biggest in the show yet, so they actually dug out an extra meter into the floor so they could have the horizon in the shot. Because Dodongo's big. And then immediately following up with Pestar, again, suit actor Teru Aragaki and Yukihiro Seno. Both of them, on reflecting on filming the Pestar episode, were like, damn, that sucked. How are we alive?
Damn.
So, that sounds like a struggle. Again, the sculptor was Takayama, and apparently it says that the mouth movement for Pestar was done via the Muppet method. Whatever that is. Presumably how Kermit the Frog works, though.
Yeah, hand up the ass, you know.
Yeah.
Flap
Or whoever's inside, I guess, in this case.
The Muppet method is such a funny way of phrasing that.
I don't know. I forgot if that was me or just what it said, but I think I remember saying a Muppet method on the wiki. Then we got Gamakajira for our favorite Jisoji episode.
Hell yeah.
Suit actor Aragaki, sculptor is Takayama. There are beads embedded in the body, which Takayama had trouble putting on. They thought about repurposing the suit for Kemular, but that didn't happen. But they did repurpose the suit for Skydon later.
Mm-hmm.
Which does make it funny when they repeat the bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we got Gavidon.
Hell yeah, we love Gavidon.
Yeah, Gavidon. Suit actor Aragaki. Sculpted by Takayama, but it also mentions that the original Gavidon Ace suit may have been done by a company called Eversoft. I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound right. But it was on the wiki, so. Apparently the Gavidon episode was... There was a... Taken from a draft from an Ultra Q episode that goes going to be made, but they made an Ultraman instead, so that's really cool. It does feel like a...
It feels like an Ultra Q episode.
Yeah. I think we talked about this in the past, but the episode title was originally going to be Between Morning and Night. But then, 60 years later or so, they reused that episode for the Blazer Gavidon episode.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Me when I'm trying to write and publish my off-brand Twilight book.
Yeah.
But I can't call it that.
Apparently the second Gavidon form, which was not in the Blazer episode, was based off a scrap design for the Dodongo as well.
Oh. I mean, if you got it around, might as well use it.
Yeah.
First Gavidon form still clears, though, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably why they just didn't use it. That's why that's the only one they use in Blazer, I think.
The first one is much more memorable. I'm not surprised. Yeah.
And when the footage of Ultraman beating up little baby Gavidon, and I'm like, stay away from him. He's just a little guy.
Remember when they fucking bomb it in Blazer and it just bounces off?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's so good. Blazer is a show I don't know if I care for all that much at the end of the day, but I have very fond memories of a lot of it.
No, that's the thing. Like that was our conclusion. Like each individual episode is really good. It's just as a whole, it doesn't cohere as much.
Yeah. I'd still call it a good show, but
Maybe it coheres a movie. We'll never know though.
we'll never know.
We'll
We will never
know how
read
it
the
coheres
last
a movie.
page of that book.
Oh damn it!
I wonder why this book is called Little Women.
Anyway, MVP, Bolton,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
suit actor Aragaki. Surprised they got a guy in a suit in that suit.
I was about to say it. I'm shocked there's actually a person in that.
They also
is
said that maybe there was
doing?
another guy during the parts where it's just shooting out wires and shaking the wires. I don't know the logistics of this fucking thing. How's
I like to think they don't either. It just happened.
yeah? I found this kaiju.
What a strangely bizarre they were absolutely cooking episode of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Good episode.
Yeah.
Sculptor was Takayama. Apparently narrated his head for both Gavidon A and Bolton. He was trying to I think is put the abstract in motion kind of thing. All these designs by Turner, obviously. We got another guy,
Okay.
Zarab,
Yeah.
Yes.
suit actor and voice actor Takeshi Aono. The body was repurposed from Raygon, and they just took out the fins, called it silver. The head was originally made of resin, but they made it with latex instead after. And then finally, the episode also has a fake Ultraman. Suit actor Fumio Ikeda. I have a correction to make from a couple weeks back. It's actually a new head they used.
I was gonna say, because when you told me that the head they used for the fake Ultraman was the first head touched up, I was like, it's got to be very touched up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a new head, but they used the first suit.
I see.
And then they repurposed that one for Zoffy. Also, Bin Furuya has an Aragon moment.
Oh, shoot.
Apparently, there's a scene in that. I don't know if I don't think we commented on at the time, so I kind of forget if this happened. But there's this moment in the fight where Ultraman karate chops the fake Ultraman in the head and feels to be in pain, and that's because Bin Furuya actually karate chopped it and was in pain because it was really hard.
Damn. Did you know Aragorn blocked that dagger?
Alien Bat didn't.
No.
But yeah, that's trivia for now.
Sick. All right. Well, I go the email. Oh, yes. One more thing. Do we have any emails?
Yeah, we just got a brief one from Jigsaw.
Oh, shoot.
He mostly just said, "Oh wow, I didn't know I was missed." How nice. Anyway,
Sidrixer, I'm holding you by the shoulders. Please don't feel pressured. Please.
Yeah. He does say that he just doesn't have much to say about Ace. So just reconfirming that. But he also says that he will have something for us next week. So.
All right. Sick. Look forward to it. All right. Well, that's an episode of a fucking podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, we're at the halfway point.
Yeah. Next week is going to be 4 episodes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we have a question to raise. Do we do Mirror Man next week or the week after?
I would really much like it if it was the week after.
I also
that
would
is
like
that is
it.
fine. We discussed this quite extensively at the end of last week's episode.
Oh, okay. All right. I would much prefer the 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, we can manage.
I think
that.
it'll be fine because I think it'll be shorter, and then also the skipping the queue will also be shorter that week probably, just because it's one movie.
Cool. So yes, next week, what we are doing is we are watching 4 episodes of Ultraman Ace. That is 25, 26, 27, and 28. And then that'll be it. Like, there'll be no more weird numbers of episodes. It'll just be 3 and 3 for the rest of the time, except for the fact that the week after this 4, we're taking a break and watching the movie.
Yeah.
Not the Blazer movie. That's not ready for some reason.
Yeah.
The movie that's going to be on Netflix.
Yeah. Ultraman Rising.
Yeah.
I think it'll have an English and Japanese dub, because I think it's an American movie, so we'll see.
So is it like, so it's made in English?
I think, I'm not sure which is.
I'll have to investigate.
Yeah, I think it's probably obviously made with both in mind, obviously, but like, because then you're not gonna make an Ultraman movie and not sell it in Japan. But
Yeah.
True. Okay then. That is an episode. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at @ultra_Q. That is at @ultra_QUEUE. Mel.
you can follow me at Dear Crowns on the Twitter and Blue Sky. There's our email address, ultrapod@gmail.com. There's a coffee, UltraQ Fund. Brad.
You can find me, sadly, back in Wisconsin. I'm everywhere on the internet. Be Invoked, that's BE_INVOKED. And yeah.
We could maybe do Abyss this week, probably. Maybe.
It depends on how much work kicks my ass, but I think I could do it. Probably.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled out for that audience, who will probably get this too late.
Yeah.
Or really
close to, like a day before.
Yeah, day before.
Keep your eyes on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah, the pain in the ass about taking time off of work is that you have to do all of the shit you were supposed to do when you get back.
Yeah.
All right. That is an episode. We will see you next week. 4 more episodes. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Later.
Hee-ho-ha!